Hey, it's Pete, GCI Turf. Hope you're having a good day, and I hope today's video you're going to learn something, because you know you hear me constantly talking about turf grass and tall fescue and how to make it look good and what to do and what don't to do. But you know what? That's only part of the puzzle. Okay? What good is it if you have a good looking turf grass and your landscaping looks like poo? You know what I'm saying? So I want you to go back in time with me about 7 years ago. And I want you to see all this color and all this landscape, all these trees, everything around this place. Well, none of it was here. I mean, none of it. Let's walk down the side of the house over here. Now, you have to excuse my mess because I'm in the middle of preparing everything for pine needles, and I'm going to show you the pine needle install. I've still got some things to do. I got to fill in that irrigation pipe. Man, I've been busy. I ain't had time, but things are kind of slowing down a little bit, so I got a little bit of time to do some of this stuff. But all this stuff wasn't here. Nothing. Every single piece of plant material you see, them two hands put it in. Now, the only thing I didn't remove when we bought this house, there was nothing here. Had some of your basic generic plants. I ripped all that crap out. And the only thing that was here that I left that was pre-existing when we bought this property was that arborvitae right there and that arborvitae right there. I left those simply because they're two good anchor points. They're big, tall, and slim, and they make a good anchor point in a landscape. You see this patio back here? Man, this is a cool place to come hang out. Look at this pergola right here. That's my design on the end right there. That little, I don't even know what you call it. What do you call that? Just the design. I kind of drew that out and replicated it throughout all of this area back here. And we started off, this patio was just a stamped concrete, standard size patio, maybe 10 foot deep. and we started putting this patio in, or I started putting this patio. Let me take that back. Me and my kids started putting this patio in because I made my kids work, and I had the pallets of the rock sitting right out there in the dirt, and them kids toted every one of these blocks to me. Now, they had a little trouble picking this one up because at the time they were just little kids, so I had to help them with the big ones. But the little ones, they toted them to me one at a time while I laid them. And of course, I didn't use a laser level on this. I pretty much used my eye, but I got it good where the water, it's a 2-inch fall. It's a 3-inch fall from the house back here to where it enters the yard. So the water runs this way, and we built this thing. But it's funny because the patio kept getting bigger and bigger. It started off, the patio stopped there. And I talked with my wife and said, hey, man, that ain't big enough. We need a little more space. We got a big family. So it moved. I went and bought another pallet, and it come out to here. Same thing. Come out to here, come out to here, come out to here. So we ended up, I don't know if the camera does this justice, but this is a massive patio, and I'm very thankful for it and blessed to be able to have something like this. Now, all my stone I did get at a severe discount. I'll tell you some tricks on that later on, but I'm trying not to get off subject. I want you to know that on my channel, I'm not just about having a pretty turf. I want my whole property to look good. And as part of that, from time to time, I have to make little design changes in it that fit things I do or want to do or want to see. So I know on my striping video, you saw I made reference to that spot right there. I said, oh no, I done screwed up. Well, I got you. I fooled you. I had a bunch of comments said, man, that's tough that you messed up. Like, well, I didn't mess up. I'm not going to say I don't ever mess up, because I do. But when it comes to this yard, it's a rare occasion where I screw up, because I'm dialed in and I'm focused on my yard. Well, this was intentional, simply because I want to bring this area out a little bit and kind of do me a little half moon circle, half moon shape right here of those same brick pavers. I've got those at the shop that I saved from some extra, and then I'll tie the beds into the side. And one of the main reasons is I'm kind of getting tired of having to go up in that little nook and mow that and weed eat and trim it. This way I can just take my mower and go whoop, go right down through there and be done. So another thing I've had to do is, when I planted these Jap maples, look at that, that's pretty, ain't it? They just now starting to leaf out. Look at that pretty red color. I hit these real good with that that soil activator. I mean the tree and shrub pack, you know, the RGS stuff and all that. I soaked these down real good with a good helping of that, and they've really come out nice. You know, I've switched mower brands, and so I've got me a new mower, and we bought several of them for the company, for the cruise, and then I also bought one for my house, because I'm just getting to the point where I don't want to walk no more, so I'm gonna ride. And the radius of this circle here doesn't match my mower. Okay, I have to turn too tight, and by doing that, the outside tire on the mower wants to grab the turf and twist as I'm turning. And now there's really only one way I can mow around this circle. That's in a circle. Of course, you can mow it and back up, all that, but I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna fix the tree ring for two reasons. One, the tree's getting bigger. It needs to be a bigger tree ring. And two, so it accommodates my mower, so that I don't have to worry about stressing out that turf around the outside edge. So I'm gonna make these two tree rings bigger today, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it. All right, so another thing I did, and you can see, this is one of the things that is so cool about yard work and lawn care and dirt. You can make it what you want it. That is just the neatest thing in the world. It's not like a piece of steel. You go in there and cut a piece of steel that's supposed to be 3 inches long, and you cut it at 2 3/4 inches. You done screwed up that piece of steel. You can't make that steel 3 inches long again. Well, I guess you could if you weld it back together, but that ain't the point. You see what I'm saying? Now, you see, there's an irrigation head right there from my install last summer, and it was a little close to the turf. So what I did was a simple fix. Is when I come around here with a bed edger, I just widened that up just a little bit. So now all I got to do is take my Roundup and spray that little strip of grass right there, let that die, put my needles on, and you'll never know that I changed this. It still looks as if it flows with the natural landscape. The Facebook group, we had a great comment from a fellow that's got one of those in his front yard. Well, you can see what I did to cover mine up. Look at there. Now you see it? Now you don't, right? So this, what I do with this tree ring right here, you can use this. It don't have to be a tree. You can use this concept. If you've got one of those big ugly things in your front yard and you want to cover it up, you can use this same concept we're about to do right here. Hey, I do want to say this and make a point. Before you go digging around one of those boxes, you know, chances are those wires are really deep in the ground and you're probably not going to hit them. But I'm telling you, if you grab hold of one of them, it's going to light your tail up. So you might want to call the company that owns that box and double check that kind of stuff before you go digging. All right, so you really need 3 things to do this. Well, 4 maybe. depending on who you are. Well, actually 5. Okay, so you need a can of paint. Now, I meant to bring some high-vis orange paint from the shop, but I forgot, so I got some black custom shop Rust-Oleum or something. I don't really care what the paint is as long as I can see it for my marking. Of course, I need a tape measure to do this, because the reason I need a tape measure is I'm not going to eyeball this. I'm a very symmetrical and very precise in designing landscape and changing landscape and all that kind of thing. I've got a video coming when I tell you about my cryptomeria, that every single one of them are the exact same distance apart in the exact same shape and all that. We'll talk about that in another video. But right here, you need your paint, you need a tape measure. I like to use a string trimmer when I do this. You'll need a shovel and you'll need some Roundup. So the first thing I'm gonna do is measure, and I'm gonna come out about 3 feet from a tree. All right. And what I'm gonna do here is mark it 3 feet right there. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around the entire tree about every, I don't know, 12, 24 inches or so, and put me a mark at 3 foot. That way I'm creating a perfect little circle, a 3 foot circle around this tree. And my base, I'm using the guideline for my base is the base of that tree right there. You can see my line here. I've got a nice symmetrical circle now going all the way around. Next step I'm gonna do is take my trimmer, weed eater, whatever you wanna call it, and I'm gonna dig me a line all the way around using that black line there as a guide, and I'm gonna cut out the circle that I want. Now you can see I got my little circle cut out. Where's it at? Right there it is. See there? I ain't done nothing but cut a little ring out all the way around it. Pretty simple. Now there's an alternative to doing it this way. You can take your paint and mark it, and then you can just take a shovel if you want to and dig all that grass out if you want to. Well, that's a lot of really dense, thick turf that has a very strong root system, I assure you. I honestly don't feel like digging that out. So I'm gonna take Roundup and spray everything on the inside of this circle, being very, very, very cautious not to get any on my outside of the perimeter here, because of course that's my good grass. I don't want to mess that up. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna do here is take my Roundup, my glyphosate, and I'm gonna spray this area inside here. And again, you're gonna be super careful. Don't get it on the outside of your grass, because if you do, it's gonna kill it. All right, there you go. You notice how I held the nozzle real close to the ground, especially around the edges. That way I could make this fan tip be very, very precise on where the spray actually hits. Now, you can't see this, but when I'm actually doing that, I am looking at the outside, the two outside edges where this fan tip fans out, you know, like, oh, I can't make a fan like that. I'm looking at the two outside edges of that to make sure none of that liquid is getting on my turf that I'm trying to keep. I got one other spot right here, my spot where y'all thought I done screwed up, but hey, I got you. I'm gonna spray this right here because, like I said, I got something new and something a little bit different I want to do right here. Simply because I'm tired of mowing this spot. I just want a good clean pass around the outside and be done with it. Now, if you notice, I did apply the Roundup really heavy in these areas because this tall fescue, this is a very dense, very thick stand of fescue that you can't even in no way see the ground. It's incredibly thick. So I want to make sure I get plenty of product on the leaf because I only want to spray this one time. And you know, with fescue or most of your cool season grasses, one good Roundup application is about all you need. Now, if this were Bermuda grass, we're talking about a different story. I honestly, if you were doing this in a Bermuda yard, I probably would not attempt to dig it up with a shovel. I'd most certainly use glyphosate. You can use this same process, but you definitely don't want to go the shovel route. You want to go the Roundup route. Because chances are, even if you Roundup it, it's probably going to come back up through that bed at some point in time. Bermuda's just that tough. That Bermuda and fescue comparison here, as far as toughness goes, and hardiness, and just overall of the plant being tough. If these two got in a gunfight or a fist fight, Bermuda's going to kick its butt every single time. Now see, one thing that a lot of folks, well, I don't know, I ain't gonna say a lot of folks, I'm gonna say some folks may forget about this whole project right here. Remember, this is glyphosate. Anything it touches, pretty much, it's going to smoke it. Now I've got natural adjuvant in there too, so that it works a little faster than it's supposed to and it works better. If one of my kids is playing in the yard today and they step in that hole, they step inside that circle and get that on their foot, and then they take off, running across the yard, I'm gonna have dead feet print in my grass, and that will drive me absolutely insane. So watch this right here. Hey guys, y'all come here. Come here, Jay. Right there. Oh. You see this spot of grass right here? See this line from here to there? And you see these little circles right here in the yard? See where I got that circle? Inside this circle, inside that circle, and inside this area, do not walk. I've got Roundup on it. If it gets on the bottom of your feet and you run across my yard, it's going to leave a dead feet print everywhere. Everybody understand? All right. See you later. Hey, check this out. On a side note, let me tell you what I just done with them kids. Now, a lot of people may be scared to tell their kids, hey, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or there'll be a consequence for doing that. So we don't roll like that around here. My game plan as a dad, or my responsibility as a dad, to teach them kids that there are consequences for actions when that action isn't right. You understand what I'm saying? There's right and wrong in this world. Whether you agree with that or not, there is. And it's my job and it's your job as a dad to teach those kids right from wrong so that when they get older in life, they don't stumble and fall quite as much, or they make better decisions when they get older. And this is just a very small stepping stone in that lesson. You know, I'm teaching my kids that stuff all the time, and about little tiny things like this and about big things in life too. But this is just a very small stepping stone that, hey, Daddy works hard in his yard, and Daddy spends money in his yard, and you're going to respect that. And so when I ask you not to do something or stay off an area, see, I expect that, and they know I do. And the cool thing is they listen. So you put your foot down with your kids when they don't want to listen, and you be firm with them, and you love them the entire time you're doing it. You're only going to help them be successful in life. So I've got a couple little areas here I've got to work on too. Now this is where I use my bed edging machine and edge my beds out. And I didn't want to get too close to that irrigation head. And it's a little different than the spot over there. I couldn't pull the grass out because if I pulled it over here, I'd have to pull it over there. And I didn't want to throw my symmetry off too bad. So I stopped, picked up, started back here. Now the way I fix this is exactly like I did that tree. I'll take my weed eater and I'll edge me out a line and make it tie into that perfectly. And then I'll take my Roundup and I'll spray that little area. Once it's dead, I take my shovel and trench that little spot out so that it matches the rest of my trench. Hey, I hope you like this kind of stuff. Again, I'm not in this to show you about turf grass. Of course, I'm going to because I love it. But I want your whole entire property to stand out. Say if you like this kind of stuff, because I got a bunch more of these little things in my pocket. I'm gonna show you everything I know. I give you my word. Just give me some time to make them all, because there's a lot of stuff built up in this knot right here. So if you like this, subscribe and share. Tell your buddies, say, hey, there's this dude on YouTube that he's fed up with all this BS that everybody gets fed. And he's going to show a lot of people a lot of things to do the right way. Hey, check you later. Hope you have a good night.
You found me! 3 seconds.
Hey, I know it. Hey, that was just for a camera. But hey, you hear me? Don't you walk out there. I'll crack your head. You hear me? Don't you walk out in them circles.
Oh, wait, that was just for camera?
Yeah.
Your camera was on?
Yeah, it was on. I told you I was filming it. It was to show people to tell how good you listen is what it is. You know how kids are hard-headed and stubborn, don't want to listen to their parents?
Yes, sir.
So people need to know that, hey, all kids ain't like that. There's a lot of kids that are smart, right? And listen. But I'm also letting you know if you walk on that grass, I'll crack your knot. You understand?